page 1167, page 1168, page 1169, page 1170, page 1171, page 1172, page 1173, page 1174, page 1175, page 1176, page 1177, page 1178, page 1179, page 1180, page 1181, page 1182, page 1183, page 1184, page 1185, page 1186, page 1187, page 1188, page 1189, page 1190, page 1191, page 1192, page 1193. Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent Kwara North. I rise to move that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, the 15th December 2020 be approved. I so move.
Senator Danjumala.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Danjumala, representing Kaduna South. I rise to second the motion. Votes and proceedings at on 15 December 2020 as voted, please.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 15th December 2020 as amended be approved, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 15th December 2020 as amended is hereby approved. Vote.
Just a minute to put them.
No, I want to read it now.
When he says I, say your hand, then you'll be reading whatever it says. Read after you.
Distinguished colleagues, this morning Brother Stephen Adi Ode, Senator-elect, will take his oath. So clerk, please administer the oath.
I, Stephen Adi-Ode,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Then we'll go to the altar.
I, Stephen Adi-Ode,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
that as a member of the Senate,
that as a member of the Senate,
I will perform my functions honestly
I will perform my functions honestly
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully,
faithfully,
in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria
in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria
and the law
and the law
and the rules of the Senate,
and the rules of the Senate,
and always in the interest of the sovereignty,
and always in the interest of the sovereignty,
integrity,
solidarity,
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 well-being and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
well-being and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
that I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives
that I will strive to protect, to preserve the fundamental objectives
and directive principles of state policy
and directive principles of state policy
contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will abide by the code of conduct
and that I will abide by the code of conduct
contained in the 5th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
contained in the 5th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, sir.
Yes, no, my former colleague.
Announcement. December. Petitions. Petition Chairman Senate Committee on Public Petitions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name remains Senator Joaquin Eloy, representing Ondo Central. Mr. President, I rise to present petitions not yet laid but referred to the Committee on Ethics from the Office of the President of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Senate Committee on Ethics privileges upon petition in line with Order 41, 1 and 3, which is to present to the floor of the Senate some petition not yet to be laid from the Office of the President of the Senate, in order to officially place the petition in the public domain through the floor of the Senate and for the votes and proceedings to capture the approval for referral. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, please find below a summary of the petition received from this Office of the Senate for ease of reference. Number 1, petition from Tokumbo Ligadu Oyemade Mrs. Respondent, the President of ECOWAS Commission and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Subject of the petition. Petition from Tokunbo Ligadu Oyemade Mrs. against the President of ECOWAS Commission over wrongful dismissal and termination of her appointment. As the Director of Administration of ECOWAS Commission by the President of ECOWAS Commission embracing disobedience of the President to comply with 5 different judgments of the ECOWAS Court, which ordered her reinstatement and payment of all her emoluments and entitlement, and flagrant disobedience of directives of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and successive foreign affairs ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Number 2, petition from Emmanuel E. Okere. Respondent, Bestword Insurance Brokers Limited. Subject of the petition. Petition on an outright diversion of fraud by Bestword Insurance Brokers Limited and others of over 26 billion naira earmarked for payment of ex-PHCN staff insurance premium meant to cushion the effect of privatization of power industry in November 2003. Number 3, Chinedu Efemaku against the managing director of the management of NDDC, appeal to the Senate for urgent intervention to compel NDDC to pay Mass Nigeria Limited their long outstanding sum. Number 4, Ibrahim Tanko and Olusegun James. Respondent, the Chief Medical Director and Director of Finance and Accounts of Federal Medical Center, KEFI. Petition against the Chief Medical Director in deliberate connivance with Director of Finance and Accounts of Federal Medical Center, KEFI, of gross millionaire of public fund and interrogated revenue for the period of 2015 to 2018 years without remittance to CSA and spending of public fund without appropriation by National Assembly. Number 5, Ismail Mohammed and Haruna Daladi against the managing directors of Nigerian Petroleum Development Limited and National Petroleum Investment Management Services, NAPIMS. Petition against the management staff of Nigerian Petroleum Development Company Limited, Benin City, and National Petroleum Investment Services, NAPIMS, for non-full disclosure of internally generated revenue, IGR, ranging to over an average of 1.2 trillion revenue loss annually to the federal government of Nigeria through deliberate spending and misappropriation of revenue due to the federal government without appropriation by the National Assembly between 2016 to 2019 years. Number 6, Sinak Pere Honora Esquire of Honora and Associates. Respondent, Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company Limited. Subject matter of the petition, petition against Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company Limited for money laundering, sabotaging the Niger Delta region and the Nigerian economy, and being a gross violation of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act, Companies and Other Matters Act, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, and the National Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act. Number 7, petition from Olawumi Olajide Awosedo against AMCON. Petition against the Access Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, for corruption, extortion, insider abuse, corruption and fraud, harassment and intimidation, desperate appeal for intervention of National Assembly in the interest of the overriding public good. Number 8, Ashakwe Israel against Ocean Marine Solutions Limited. Petition from Ashakwe Israel against deliberate attempt by Ocean Marine Solutions Limited to set Niger Delta on fire in its ill treatment high-handedness, negligence, recklessness, abandonment of indigenous ex-militant of the operational area of OML 30. Number 9, Kolawole Johnson, against Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, against the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, petition from Kolawole Johnson calling on the Senate to stop Senator Bobby Agbawe from seeking Niger Delta Development Commission further. Number 10, Pharmacist Mercy, Sam Ohuboa, and forwarders. Respondent, Pharmacist A.T. Mora, the new chairman of the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria, subject of the petition. Petition against the appointment of A.T. Mora as chairman, Pharmacist Council of Nigeria. Number 11, Dionabasi Akwa, against Effion Akwa, the acting executive director of NDDC. Petition from Dinabasi for presidency of suit in court challenging the appointment of Mr. Effion Akwa, an acting executive director of NDDC. Finally, Mr. President, petition from Dr. Igus Sylvester against the executive secretary and top management staff of Better Education Services Delivery for All. Petition against executive secretary and top management staff of Better Education Service Delivery for All, BESDA, for gross miscellaneous of millions of dollars fund ranging to several billions of naira without geographical spread across the country. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, to the best of my knowledge, none of the above petitioners is seeking judicial remedy. I therefore move, Mr. President, to seek the indulgence of the Senate to lay the above petitions before the Senate for official referral to the committee for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Public petitions. Is any of the petitioners seeking judicial remedy?
Mr. President, to the best of my knowledge, none of them is seeking judicial remedy.
You may let the report. You may let the petitions, please. The petitions are referred to Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to report back within 4 weeks. Any more petitions? Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first business of the day is the presentation of an executive bill standing in my name on the Appropriation Act 2020 Amendment Bill 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill. Mr. President, thank you.
Order. Senator Matthew and Senator Peter. Senator Matthew and Senator Peter first. And Senator Peter.
Leader. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I would like first to come on a motion under order to suspend our order 44 in order to amend the order paper. The first item on the agenda, which is Appropriation Act 2020, may not need to come in because we did not receive any communication from the President, only communication from the Minister of Finance, on which we are now coming for a second reading. So that first reading should go. So I would like to move for amendment to the order paper by the expulsion of the first item of the agenda should go, and the second item on that agenda should be the first. So there are only four first readings that we should be taking. So with that, I move for suspension, for the amendment of the order paper and suspension of our order 44. I so move.
Minority Leader, Senator Johnson, you can go ahead. No, don't worry about him. He's coming home. Oh, okay, that's why he sits. Okay.
I rise to second the motion, Mr. President.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and seconded by the minority leader, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2020 SB 607, first reading.
Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2020 SB 607, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Saidu Ahmed Al-Kali on the Industrial Training Fund Act number 19/2011, Amendment Bill 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Industrial Training Fund Act number 19/2011, Amendment Bill 2020, SB 608, first reading.
Industrial Training Fund Act number 19/2011, Amendment Bill 2020, SB 608, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ibikule Amosu on Student Financial Aid Scheme Establishment Bill 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Student Financial Aid Scheme Establishment Bill 2020, SB 609, first reading.
Students Financial Aid Scheme Establishment Bill 2020, SB 609, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Nicholas Olubukola Tofomo on the Federal School of Basic Studies Ile Oluji Establishment Bill 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Establishment Bill 2020, SB 611, first reading.
Federal School of Basic Studies Ile Oluji Establishment Bill 2020, SB 611, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of the Conference Committee report on the 2021 to 2021 to 2023 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. Mr. President, due to the communication that this chamber received from the Minister of Finance yesterday, I would like to move a motion for us to rescind or suspend the consideration of this particular paper, because it will change the total amount that is involved in the budget, the additions that were made, and it has to be done, in concurrence with the Committee on Appropriation. So I would want to move a motion for this state to step down consideration of this until tomorrow, the 17th of December 2020. I so move.
Minority Leader.
I rise to second the motion, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion moved by the leader that we suspend the consideration of our report, the report of our Committee on Finance on MTF, FSP, say aye. Till tomorrow, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the seventh business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Appropriations on 2021 Appropriation Bill 2020. Mr. President, in line with my earlier argument on the MTF, also in line with the decisions that this chamber took during the executive session that we undertook today, I would like to step down consideration of this laying of this report to Monday the 21st of, in a special session, to Monday the 21st of December 2020, as agreed in the executive session that we undertook today in the morning. So I so move that we step down consideration of this laying of this budget, until the day that has been prescribed. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the report be stepped down for a later day consideration. I so second.
Before I put the question, let me also make this point. Our Committee on Appropriation has been working so hard, working around the clock. We had planned to receive the report of our Committee on Appropriations today, but there was a late request for some more expenditures from the executive arm of government, and we want to ensure that our committee does work and produce a very clean document, so they can't present this report today. However, they said the report will be ready by weekend. Consequently, the Senate will hold a special session on Monday, the 16th, the 21st of December, just to consider and pass the budget 2021. This is in keeping with our legislative agenda of ensuring that the annual budget has a January to December cycle. We did that last year, and by the grace of God, we'll do it again. With this, let me put the question that those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and seconded by the minority leader say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Police Affairs on the screening of the nomination of Chief Onomuche Namdi for appointment as a member of the Police Service Commission. The two good senators will recall that the request was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 25th November 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Dauda Jika, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Halluru Dauda Jika, Doka Jimbochi.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Halluru Dauda Jika, representing Bauchi Central Senatorial District, I rise humbly to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Police Affairs on the confirmation of and the nomination of Chief Onyemuchi Namdi for appointment as member of the Police Service Commission. Mr. President, distinguished senators, I so move.
Yeah, Senator Betty Apiafi.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Betty Apiafi. I represent Rivers West Senatorial District. I'm from Rivers State. Mr. President, I second the motion moved by the Chairman Police Affairs that the report on the screening of the presidential nominee be laid and approved, and I so second.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive the report of our Committee on Police Affairs, receive and consider the report of our Committee on Police Affairs, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You may let the report. Chairman, you may present the report.
Thank you, sir. I will go straight to the finding and observation. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, at the end of the screening exercise, the committee deliberated extensively on the nominees' qualifications, capacity, suitability, competence, and integrity for the appointment as member of the Police Service Commission, and thereafter made the following findings and observations. That the nominee possesses the requisite legal requirement specified under the provision of Section 2, subsection A and B of the Police Service Commission Establishment Act 2001. There is no adverse or security report for the committee against the appointment of the nominee as a member of the Police Service Commission, as both the Department of State Services and the police report to the committee in respect of the nominee did not reveal any iota of crime or wrongdoing against him. That there is no any legal petition before the committee against the appointment of the nominee as a member of the Police Service Commission. That the committee has established both, in fact, an extant law that the nominee present by Mr. President for confirmation for appointment as member of the Police Service Commission have satisfied requisite legal requirement and is hereby affirmed to be fit and proper person for appointment as member of the Police Service Commission. Recommendation by the committee. Accordingly, the Senate Committee on Police Affairs, having thoroughly screened the nominee and satisfied with his qualification, cognate experience, competence, and integrity, hereby recommend that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Chief Barrister Onyemuchi Namdi as member of the Police Service Commission representing Southeast Geopolitical Zone. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I thank you for your attention and opportunity to serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator Chukwuka Otazi, Enugu North.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Chukwuka Otaze. I represent the good people of Enugu North Central District of Enugu State. I rise to second the report, this acceptance of this report of the recommendations of this committee.
It's just for you to make your comments.
I want to say that Mr. Onyemuchi Namdi, a former Secretary to State Government of Secretary to Government of Enugu State, very thorough party man. On the other side, you know, has worked very hard and seriously for this recognition by his party, the APC. And we, people from Enugu State, are very happy for this recognition. For us, it was overdue. But now that he's here, we are happy for him. And we know, with the kind of experience he has garnered over time, that he's going to perform very well on this position. He's a square peg in a square hole, Mr. President. I also want to point out that the name here have been corrected. Nnamdi, not Nnamdi. Is a mistake, typographical error. Is Onyemuche, Chief Barrister Onyemuche Nnamani. You know the Justice Nnamani of the Supreme Court is from his family. Is for somebody from a very good home that this country will be very proud.
Is it Nnamani or Namdi? Not Namdi. Thank you. The Chief Whip.
Mr. President, my name is Oji Ozokalo. I want to support the report of the Committee on Police Affairs because Onyemuche Nnamani is a full member and a participatory member of APC and a great supporter of this party in the Southeast. I will urge my colleagues to support in confirming him this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. President.
Leader of the Senate, can we resolve to committee of all?
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move the motion for the Senate to resolve into the Committee of the Whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate resolve into a Committee of Whole for an approval on this report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the report of our Committee on Police Affairs, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, we'll do approval now. Okay, comment.
Mr. Chairman, sir, my highly respected colleagues, this appears to be a very popular nomination. And jokingly we said it's an Igbo nomination, which is a very serious matter. Bipartisan, PDP supporting, APC supporting, so we are all supporting this nomination. The President has done very well. My only concern, Mr. Chairman, is that looking at the report that is before us, chairmen of different committees must be encouraged to answer, because once this is passed, it becomes public document. Let the chairman direct the clerk of different committees to ensure that the documents that are coming, the reports that are coming, are signed by at least a greater majority of the senators. Greater majority of the senators. You can reach the senators wherever they may be. This one, it appears, although majority signed, but it's a slim majority, which is not good enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.
Elder. Chairman, and this is like advice not only for the Committee on Police Affairs, but generally our documents, when those who are supposed to sign are not available, we should send either the document with the signature page, or we can send the signature page for our colleagues to append their signatures. Thank you very much for the advice. Well, distinguished colleagues, we do approval now. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Chief Onyemuche Nnamani for appointment as a member of the Police Service Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move the motion for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Your mic is not on.
Mr. Chairman, I rise to second the motion that the Senate revert to plenary to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate returns to plenary for the charge to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report of the Committee on Police Affairs on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as member of the Police Service Commission and approved the nomination of Chief Onemiche Nnamani as member of the Police Service Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Clerk, you need to correct this thing because it's still, yours is still reading Nnamdi. You need to correct it. Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Chief Onemiche Nnamani for appointment as a member of the Police Service Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations to Chief Nnamani, who is a very good product of the APC, loved by PDP. And I want to thank Senator Chukwuka Utazi for being very generous, for showing patriotism over anything else. And this is the way to go. We have done that for you for 16 years in the past. Congratulations. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the confirmation of the nominations of the following persons as listed in the order paper for appointment as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. And Mr. President, they are as follows. Number 1, Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi, Chairman, North Central. Number 2, George Chukuma Mbonu, Member, Southeast. Barrister Thomas Is Okosun, Member, South-South. Number 4, Dr. Umar Dauda Duhu, Member, Northeast. Number 5, Mr. Ibrahim El Yakubu, Member, Northwest. Number 6, Mr. Shola Selako Ajulo, Mrs. Member, Southwest. Number 7, Kenneth Tesu Giado, North Central. Mr. President, distinguished senators will recall that the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 24th November 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Adenikpa Fadahunsi, and in his absence, he is to be represented by distinguished Senator Tolu Odebi to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of this report.
Senator Tolu Odebi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I'm Tolu Odebi, representing Ogun West.
Senator Kudu, please allow Senator Smata Demi to resume his seat.
Sorry, Mr. President, I rise to present to the Senate today the report to receive and consider the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the confirmation of the nominations of the following persons for appointment as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. This is Sharifatu Mama Shafil, Chairman, North Central. Mr. George Chukwuma Mbonu, Member, Southeast. Barrister Thomas E. Okosun, Member, South-South. Dr. Umar Dauda Duhu, Member, Northeast. Mr. Ibrahim El Yakub, Member, Northwest. Shola Salako Ajulo, Mrs. Member, Southwest. And Kenneth Toso Gadu, North Central. Mr. I so move.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Christopher Stephen Ekpeo, you may second the motion moved by Senator Tolu Odebi that will receive and consider the report of the committee.
Don't sleep.
It's life.
Thank you, Mr. President of the Senate, my distinguished colleagues.
Take the other side.
I rise to move to second the motion ably moved by my distinguished colleagues that the report on the Senate Committee on Trade and Investment on the screening of chairmen and members of the Trial Committee on the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC Tribunal be accepted and considered.
Thank you very much, Distinguished. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of our Committee on Trade and Investment, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You may lay the report, Senator Tolu Odebi. You may present the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, I'm Senator Tolu Odebi, representing Ogun West. Mr. President, today I'm presenting to you the report of the Senate Committee on Trade and Investment on the screening and nominations of 7 persons for appointment as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Mr. President, I'm just going to go to the general observations and findings and recommendations as contained on page 2 and 3 of the presentation. At the end of the screening exercise, the committee deliberated on the nominees' stability for appointment as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal and has the following observations and findings on them. That all the nominees screened satisfy the requirements of Section 156 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, Section 5, subsection 1 of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, 2018, and Rule 121 of the Senate Standing Order 2015 as amended. That all the screened nominees are well experienced and eminently qualified to be appointed as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. That the nominees' antecedents have made them fit and proper persons for appointments to occupy the offices of the chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. That the nominees were very articulate and meticulous in their responses to questions directed to them by the committee during the screening exercise. That there was no petition against the nomination of any of the nominees, and security checks did not reveal any negative trace against the nominees. Recommendation. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Trade and Investment, having screened 7 of the nominees, carefully scrutinized their credentials, and having been satisfied with their performances, experiences, qualifications, and competencies, hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nominations of the underlisted persons as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi, chairman. George Chukuma Mbono, member. Barrister Thomas E. Okosu, member. Umar Daudu Duhu, member. Mr. Ibrahim L. Yakubu, member. Shola Salako Ajulo, member. Kenneth Toso Gado, member. Conclusion. Mr. President, my very able distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I wish to most sincerely thank the Senate for the opportunity to serve in this regard. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any comments? Leader of the Senate, Committee of the Whole. Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate resolve into a committee of whole for a consideration of this report.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolve into committee of the whole to consider the report, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Sani Musa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I stand to support the work done by this committee and to add that Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi has been a very outstanding lawyer. She has chosen that profession and has been quite outstanding. While she was at Corporate Affairs Commission, she did very well, and I believe that she will add value when she goes to be the chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Tribunal. So I believe my colleagues will support and give speedy approval to this nomination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, approval. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi as chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of George Chukuma Mbonu as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Barrister Thomas E. Okosun as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Dr. Umar Dauda Duhu as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Eliakubu as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Shola Salako Ajulu, Mrs. as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Kenneth Tasu Giado as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move the motion for the chair to report to progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Trade and Investment on the screening of Mr. President's nominees for appointment as chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal and approved the nominations of Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi, Chairman North Central, Joe Chukuma Mbonu, Member Southeast, Barrister Thomas E. Okosun, Member South-South, Umar Dauda Duhu, Member Northeast, Mr. Ibrahim Eliakub, Member Northwest, Mrs. Shola Salako Ajulu, Member Southwest, Kenneth Tasu Giado, Member North Central, as Chairman and members of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi as chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mrs. Saratu Mama Shafi is hereby confirmed as chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Joe Chukuma Mbonu as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Joe Chukuma Mbonu is hereby confirmed as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Barrister Thomas E. Okosun as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Barrister Thomas E. Okosun is hereby confirmed as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Umar Dauda Duhu as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Umar Dauda Duhu is hereby confirmed as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Eliakub as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Eliakub is hereby confirmed as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mrs. Shola Salako Ajulu as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mrs. Shola Salako Ajulu is hereby confirmed as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Kenneth Tasu Giado as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Kenneth Taso Giado is hereby confirmed as a member of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Tribunal. Congratulations to all of them. We wish them the best of tenure. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, my attention has been drawn by professionals that I goofed when I moved an earlier motion that we can do away with the first reading of this amendment. Even though we did not receive any communication directly from the Office of the President for it to be government business, but the extension is too important. So I am coming for the extension of time under a member's bill. I am presenting it in my capacity as a member of this distinguished chamber. I therefore, with your permission, move a motion.
Leader, before you move that motion, let me suggest that we use the word extension of the implementation instead of just extension. Extension of the implementation, yes, of the 2020 budget.
For this chamber to agree for an extension of the implementation of the 2020 appropriation bill. So, first reading.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, in agreement with the Leader of the Senate, I rise to second the motion that the reading first for extension of implementation on capital on 2020 budget be read. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. Yeah. First, no. Leader, the clerk will repeat what you said. The first reading, and then you can go to your page page 75. Clerk of the Senate. Clerk of the Senate. Maybe you need to hear the wordings again. But you look at the first page of the order paper. So when you should read that. Or you look at your chamber brief. Huh? Yeah.
A very small technical concern, Mr. President, because I agree with this, we have discussed this before and we have resolved to do something. But whatever that is being done now, particularly the short title, must be exactly the same with what they are doing in the House.
Exactly. That's why I conferred with the...
You have done that already? Oh, very good, very good.
It's a harmonized position. No, yeah. It's a harmonized position. Leader, would you like to read that thing again so that clerk take note of what is reading, not what you have? Of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Appropriation Act 2020 Amendment Bill 2020 SB 612 first reading.
Appropriation Act 2020 Amendment Bill 2020 SB 612 first reading taken. Leader of the Senate, you can go to second reading now.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I would like the third order of the day is the second reading of the Appropriation Act 2020 Amendment Bill 2020. Mr. President, before I proceed, I would like to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to suspend our Order 79 subsection 1 in order to allow us to read the bill the second time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
I rise to second the motion.
But leader, now the motion is for you to take the lead debate. Is that why? Because you are calling of suspension of an order. Which rule? Because if you are taking the second reading, you don't need to suspend anything. Oh, okay, that's what you should have said. So you are taking the second and third reading. Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I now move that the motion on the amendment of the 2020 Appropriation Act be read the second time. I so move.
You have a lead debate here, leader. You have a lead debate, so you read your lead debate, and then we do the second reading. We pass this in the second reading.
Mr. President, my highly esteemed colleagues, Please permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill which seeks to extend the implementation year of 2020 appropriation from 1st January 2020 to 31st March 2021. The bill was read the first time in this hallowed chamber today, Wednesday, 16 December 2020. As you are aware, prior appropriation acts in the recent past were passed media, and as such implementation was usually extended to the following year. However, these extensions were usually covered by the Appropriation Act by a clause along with the following line, and I quote, "In line with the provisions of Section 318 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this act runs for a period of 12 months starting from the date it comes into effect." Unquote. On the contrary, the 2020 Appropriation Act, Clause 12, states that, and I quote, "In line with the provisions of Section 318 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this act runs for a period of 12 months starting from 1st day of January to 31st day of December 2020. However, Mr. President, my respected colleagues, the 2020 capital budget implementation has progressed at a low speed due to mainly the unforeseen prolonged lockdown occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. As a result of the above, most of the MDAs were projected to have a huge unutilized balance, as much as 70% of their capital releases by the expiration of the 2020 Appropriation Act as provided for in the relevant section of that Act. And also, you will note that during the real hard time of the COVID-19 pandemic, most of the ministries were operating on a very light mode. In fact, most of those who are concerned with the official work, grade level 12, from grade level 14 down, were ordered not to come to work at all. And these were the major people who were the implementation arm of the various MDAs. Therefore, a lot of the work in the implementation of the capital project of the ministry was not undertaken because of the lockdown. I therefore, given all these issues, urge my colleagues to give full support to this bill in order to allow the MDS the full utilization of the capital releases under the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to reflate the economy, particularly during our COVID-induced recession. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you very much, distinguished senators.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I rise to second this very important motion that the implementation of the 2020 budget should be extended to 31st of March 2021 because of the reasons mentioned by the leader. In particular, the COVID-19 pandemic made it virtually impossible for MDAs to start procurement process in time. As at now, we still have procurement processes going on in a number of ministries and agencies. So it is right and proper to extend the implementation of the 2020 Appropriation Act. This is the only way the ministries will be able to implement whatever releases that were given to them. Secondly, Mr. President, we need to implement the budget at least by 70 to 80% in order to reflate the economy. If you don't spend, what is budgeted, the economy will be in flight mode, and we won't get out of recession. It is for this reason that I wholeheartedly support this extension, and I urge all my colleagues to do the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency, my distinguished colleagues. I'm Kabir Uga, represent the people of Kano South from Kano State. Mr. President, I want to commend the mover of this bill, distinguished senator and leader of the chamber, that there is a need to change the implementation period up to March for this budget. As I could remember, even last week I was in my constituency. Some of the projects we put in our constituency, just started foundation. And they have not even collected the mobilization. And they are scared that by December, these funds will be mopped up. And if we are allowed to let this thing go to March, it means the funds can be utilized for the budget. And at least we will relieve some people that are under hardship who could be active laborers or contractors on those sites. So therefore, I second this bill and support. I encourage or appeal to all my colleagues to support this bill so that it could be passed, and then the implementation should be done by the executive. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, colleagues, do we need to go on the debate, or we just take this? Okay. Is there anybody against the bill? Okay. Those in favor of the motion that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2020 in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspect of the budget from the 1st January 2020 to 31st March 2021 and for related matters 2020 second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2020 in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the budget from 1st January 2020 to 31st March 2020 and for related matters 2020 second reading taken. And thank you very much, Leader. Before we go to the third reading, let me say that if you want to know the contribution of this 9th National Assembly to the economy of Nigeria, don't go far away from looking at the time we passed the budget last year. This 2020 budget is responsible, largely responsible, for our ability as a country, as an economy, to have least effect and impact of the complications of COVID on economies. Bigger economies suffered much more than we did in Nigeria. We went down by 6%. If the budget was not passed in December last year, it would have been worse. And that is one of our contributions to the economy of Nigeria and to our country. Thank you very much, Leader. Of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to resolve in the Committee of the Whole Committee of Supply in accordance to our rule number 81. I so move.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do resolve into a Committee of Supply in consideration of this bill. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of Supply to consider the report of the leader, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. I hope everybody has the... Okay. There's only one clause to be amended. So, yes, Senator Bamidele.
Thank you, distinguished chairman. Distinguished chairman, colleagues, I'm Michael Okweyemi Bamidele. I represent the Central Senatorial District. Distinguished chairman, I have 3 areas that I'm trying to propose amendment on, but I'll start with the heading itself, the heading of the bill.
Distinguished Chairman, what we are seeking to amend is the period of expiration of the implementation of the 2020 appropriation, not the period of commencement, which was January 2020. So instead of saying we are amending the act, the Appropriation Act from January 2020 to 31st, we simply say we are amending the 2020 Appropriation Act to 31st March 2021. So I'm proposing that we delete from the words from the 1st January 2020, and just leave it simply at to 31st March 2021. Distinguished Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
You see, that is one way to go, but for me, the better way is the way it is here. Because we are looking at the period of implementation of 2020 budget. And period of implementation is not extension. Period of implementation is from January, 1st January to 31st December. That's the period. So if we are extending period of implementation, it should just go beyond December to March. So I think I'm not a lawyer, you are. If we are talking about period of implementation, not extension, then we should cover January to March. That is now the period of implementation.
Basically, we are saying the same thing. It's just all about elegance of drafting. And the drafters on the floor would understand what I'm saying here. We are implementing up until 31st December 2020 as it is presently contained. But now we are seeking to extend that period of implementation. What is at issue that needs to be emphasized in the heading of this bill is the period to which we are extending that implementation, not when it started, which is already settled, and nobody is changing anything about that. So we simply say we are extending to 31st March 2021. It's already settled that we started in January 2020.
Mr. Chairman, sir, my respected colleague, James Manager, Delta South. Just like the Senate President pointed out, there are about two different ways of looking at it. The point you are making is another way of looking at it. The one that is being proposed for, which is being considered now, is another way of looking at it. But you are talking about legislative elegance. I agree with you, but some of these things have been agreed between the House and the Senate because of limitation of time that we have. And so we don't have the luxury of time to go through all this. So whatever the two leaders have agreed, let us just follow it. So long as the language is captured, so that to avoid conflicting with the budget that we are about to pass on Monday. Because the budget that we are about to pass on Monday will start, the budget itself and implementation will start from 1st of January, God willing, from 1st of January 2021 to December 31st, 20. So we don't want a situation whereby these two budgets will be running at the same time. That's why we are taking out implementation of the 2020 budget. So I think we are good to go.
Capital.
Capital, that's capital. Implementation, not the budget, implementation of the budget. I think we are good to go, sir.
So let me ask this question. Senator Alpemi, is it wrong? Doesn't it convey the meaning?
I mean, it does, distinguished chairman. It's just that I just want to re-emphasize again that what we are seeking to amend, what we are seeking to extend is the date of expiry of implementation, which we are moving from 31st March, from 31st December of 2020 to 31st of March. And that's what needs to be emphasized in the heading and title of this bill. As it is, we are not extending from January. We are extending from December 31st to March 31st. So it should not even be a problem at all. You know, the title should reflect this. Yes. Yes.
Distinguished colleagues, please, I just want us to save time. If this as leader this bill or amendment seeking to extend the time gives the just hold on please. If it conveys the message that implementation of the budget is from 1st January to 31st March next year, then we can leave it. If it does not, then we have to change it, to couch it in a way that it does. And then, of course, what this means is we have to go for conference with House of Reps. Senator Ajibola, Surajidin Ajibola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Dr. Surajidin Ajibola Bashiru. I represent also Central Territorial District. Mr. Chairman, it is not just about semantics. It's about whether the intention that all of us agree with is actually brought forward by the heading and the culture. And on the issue of conference, if the issue is about conference, let us do what is supposed to be done, that everybody will know that it has been properly and professionally done. Then we can have the conference this afternoon and then come up with a final. The intention here is that when you look at the title, report on a bill for an act to amend the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspect, it should not be the capital aspect of the budget. It should be capital aspect of the Appropriation Act 2020 to 31st March 2021. Because the operative word is extension. You are not extending from January 1st, you are extending to 31st. So even in terms of semantics and grammar, it is not correct. So we need to, it is just to take away, to add aspect of the 2020 Appropriation Act to 31st March 2021. So what we are not deleting is the budget from the 1st January 2020. Even the inclusion of the word the budget is not a technical term for Appropriation Act. And I think it's better to err on the side of caution than for people to now say what kind of legislative arm do we have. We are not extending from January, we are extending to by grammar. Thank you, sir.
Senator Ibrahim.
Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, I think we are in order what we have here. I'm not a lawyer, but I think if I can borrow from the imperfecta militaris, when you look at the issue of that extension, it's correct. Because we are moving from January to December. Then that has finished, the budget period is finished. But we are now moving from January again to 31st March. So I think it's in order. This has not changed anything. I therefore support this.
Let me suggest this, because we shouldn't go on like a second reading. We are past second reading. Now is we just have to pass the close. It's for us to vote this. The heading, the title is Report on a Bill for an Act to Amend the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the budget to 31st March 2021 and for related matters 2020. Is that what you mean? Is that? So we delete from the 1st of January 2020. Huh? Leader, are you? Can we now delete from 31st from the 1st of January 2020? Can we delete that? Okay, so the title will be a report on a bill for an act to amend the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the budget to 31st March 2021 and for related matters. Is that okay? Sorry? Of the Appropriation Act. No, it's of the budget. Capital aspects of the Appropriation Act. No, it's okay. So, let me read what is here now. Report on a bill for an act to amend the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the Appropriation Act to 31st March 2021 and for related matters 2020. Is that okay? Okay. So that is the title. So we vote on this, please. Yes, Senator Okorocha.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to, like he said, to err on the side of caution. The problem, the word we have, the always has problem is the word extension. Mr. Chairman, when you extend a thing, which has started from yes, okay, but the further correction I want to make, because the word extension does not go with what you have just said.
Why?
Okay.
Extend to a period, extend to.
Because
from. That's from.
No, because initially, the budget wasn't for extension. The budget was not for extension from January. So there was no extension in the budget. It was a budget.
Not a budget, it's an act now.
It's an act, yes. The act was not for extension at all. Our act was from January to
we put it like that.
That is certain. So if you bring the word extension, that extension must be from the end of the 31st of, 1st of January to whatever you want to make it.
No.
Unless you want to use the word change rather than extend. If you look at it, you are just, unless you use the word changing the time.
I extend the period.
You can't extend. You can't extend what is not there.
Extend the period. Extend the period. Can we move on, sir?
Okay, go ahead, but if you're something.
Your mic off.
Distinguished colleagues, let me read once again what we have here that we are voting for. Report on a bill for an act to amend the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the Appropriation Act 2020 to 31st March 2021 and for related matters 2020. Is that okay? Yes. So those in favor that this clause be part of the that this clause be part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum, which is retained, remains part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I move that the chair resumes plenary in order to report progress.
Senator Sirajuddin.
Sorry, Leonard, this is not grammar. The explanatory memorandum needs to also be amended according to our agreed on the long title. Because it's still retained from the 1st January. So it's not grammar, Leonard, distinguished senator. The explanatory memorandum should be in line with our agreement on the LD as amended.
You see, just because we have amended that section, it is as amended. As amended, the way we have couched this, that's how it should be reflected. So that's the Secretariat to do. Senator Abamidele.
Distinguished Chairman, please, I'm taking us to Section 12 that we are amending. Provision of Section 12. And if we look at the amendment as proposed, it says Section 12 is amended by substituting the entire section to read thus. There's a problem with this, distinguished Chairman. If we go ahead with what is here, says the implementation of the capital expenditure in the Appropriation Act 2020 will lapse on the 31st March 2021. And we say that is what we are substituting for Section 12 as it is. It means that all the implementation that has been done so far, there will be no legal basis for it. Distinguished, please let me finish. And I invite the lawyers and drafters in the House to please pay more attention. Sir, look at the section we are trying to remove. It says, in line with the provision of Section 318 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this Act expires after 12 months, starting from 1st January to 31st December 2020. That is the Constitution, the Grundnorm, which has a bigger impact and effect than the Act of Parliament that we are passing through this bill. So we have to leave this as it is, sir. This is my proposal, that Section 12 is amended by adding a proviso to it, and then this thing that we are trying to bring in. In other words, we are going to leave Section 12 as it is, and we are adding that proviso which says, provided that the implementation of the capital expenditure in the Appropriation Act 2020 shall lapse on the 31st of March 2021. So it's a proviso that we want to add to the substantive provision that we have. Not that we are going to delete that provision altogether, and now substitute it with what is supposed to be a proviso. Because all the implementation that has been done from January to December must still have a foundation on which it will rest. So we cannot remove it completely. So I may read it again, distinguished Chairman, if I need to. Yes, sir. So we'll now say amendment of Section 12. Section 12 is amended by adding a proviso to wit, that's TOWIT. Section 12 is amended by adding a proviso to wit, then provided that in front of what we have there, which is provided that the implementation of the capital expenditure in the Appropriation Act 2020 shall lapse on the 31st March 2021. So we are not removing what was there before, but we are adding a proviso. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mine is not to come under legality per se.
But I think even the Constitution, what we say 12 months, the understanding of the amendment we are bringing here is simply because we know, arising from the pandemic, we had a time period within which there was no activity. So for all intent and purpose, if you are to count the number of months in which the budget is being implemented, the Constitution says 12 months. In fact, we are just trying to remedy that time we have lost. That is what actually brought this particular amendment. And if we want to go by this legality, perhaps is to say, what was the period within which we experienced lockdown? And say, okay, if it was 4 months, for that 4 months, no activity, then we should extend it. But we know that will lead to so many other, I'm coming. Please let me land. I said that will lead to more legal crisis. And I think what we are trying to do here is to come up with a solution that will enable this country to get value for money for the implementation of the 2020 budget. And we believe, taking a cue from the experience we've had before, extending it for 3 months will enable us to have a closure on implementation.
But the wordings must be correct.
Yes, so I think that is the key issue.
My understanding is this column 1, which is provision of section 12, right? And it's a constitutional provision. We cannot, my understanding is we cannot use this amendment we are seeking to override this constitutional provision. I agree with that. So the only problem I have is the word proviso. I don't know whether that word conveys the significance of what we are trying to. The lawyers are here, that's why I'm calling lawyers. Even though we get more confused with every explanation, but at least that is. So do you strongly recommend proviso, or we have an alternative word?
Mr. Chairman, I know Senator Betty Appiah has a phobia for some of us who are lawyers, but unfortunately, my father paid for me to have PhD degree in law. Actually, there are 2 ways that we can be going. It's either a proviso is giving an exception to a general provision, which is more apt in this circumstance. The general is more accurate in this circumstance. The general provision is January to February to December. But you are saying provided that for the purpose of this particular budget, you are extending implementation. Proviso is just Latin word for provided that. That is an enabling provision to go to not to allow the bill to be. But I know some of the pocket lawyers, to quote distinguished senator, said notwithstanding derogate from the original provision. But we cannot derogate from the constitutional provision. We are not saying that yes, the act ordinarily will expire by constitution in 12 months, but provided that only implementation of capital aspect is given life till March. So I think the proviso actually capture it. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, so I put the question on section 12 that we are amending, that this section, those in favor that this section remains part of the bill as amended, right? That is to say proviso, the proviso there. Can you read exactly what, so that we are all in agreement, that we don't leave it to the secretariat?
Thank you, sir. So, amendment of section 12. Section 12 is amended by adding a proviso to wit. I'll take it again. Section 12 is amended by adding. No, section 12 is hereby amended. Thank you. Section 12 is hereby amended by adding a proviso to wit, colon, then we'll now take this section. Provided that the implementation of the capital expenditure in the Appropriation Act 2020 shall lapse on the 31st March 2021.
Section 12 is hereby amended by adding a proviso to wit. Is that correct? The implementation of the capital expenditure provided that the implementation of the capital expenditure in the Appropriation Act 2020 shall lapse on the 31st March 2021. Those in favor that this section be amended and stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. Sorry, we needed to take that much time to ensure that we get it correct. Otherwise, it could be a fundamental flaw. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I'd like to move a motion for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader and Chief Whip.
Mr. Chairman, I second that we revert to plenary to report progress.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of Supply considered a bill for an act to amend the 2020 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the Appropriation Act to 31st March 2021 and approved as follows. Clause 1 as amended, explanatory memorandum as amended, short title as recommended, long title is as amended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues,
third reading. Minority Leader.
I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2020 in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspect of the Appropriation Act to 31st March 2021 and for related matters 2020, SB 612, third reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Appropriation Act 2020 in order to extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the budget to 31st March 2020 and for related matters 2020 third reading taken and the bill is passed. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. But because what we have agreed with the House did not hold here, we have to constitute a conference committee that would have to engage the House, because the House may pass theirs probably different from what we have passed here. So, leader, please give me a list so that we can, or before we close, we will announce the harmonization committee to engage the House immediately after we close, so that we have the same amendment, because we have to take the report probably tomorrow. And I believe that the House may be doing the same thing now, but probably in a different way. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of the National Unity Corps Establishment Bill 2020. The distinguished senator will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 15th March 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Estifadi Dungyang to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Leader, this is supposed to be for second reading. Senator Edi Gyang.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to move a motion for the second reading of a bill for an act to establish Nigerian unity, called to empower, develop, and provide alternative employment for the youths, to facilitate peace, community service, nation building, and for related matters. I so move. Our distinguished President and colleagues will recall that a similar bill was taken on the floor yesterday, and this is being taken so that the two bills will be consolidated at the committee stage. Distinguished colleagues will recall that this bill was passed successfully in the 8th Senate, but falls short of presidential assent. It is being introduced before the 9th Senate, following many advantages embedded therein, particularly the impact it will have in addressing the unemployment malady confronting the nation. The current administration promised Nigerians 10 million jobs, and this bill is a platform for the attainment of this noble objective. It is therefore a platform for expanding the frontiers of gainful deployment of the energy of our youths. It will provide a multi-layer approach to handling security, and in particular assist in the attainment of the Safe School initiative of government, as the cooperative shall be deployed to strengthen security in our public schools. Yesterday, the Senate took a long time debating on the security situation, the threat that our students are facing currently. And this corps will provide the personnel that can be deployed to provide these services for intelligence gathering, and as first responders that will be liaising with the other security agencies.
So the bill has clauses. The establishment clause is to seek to provide a veritable legal framework for the establishment of the Nigerian Peace Corps. And of course, the part 1 deals with the functions of the Corps, which include, among others, to empower, develop, and provide alternative employment for Nigerian youth. 2, to facilitate peace, community service, and involvement of the youth in nation building. 3, it will serve as a ground for training Nigerian youths with good virtues, strong passion and commitment to the art of patriotism, volunteerism, community service, and indeed nation building. Another function of the Corps will be to train, equip the youth with knowledge for peace education, conflict resolution, mediation, reconciliation, and confidence building. It will also provide security for all educational institutions and check all forms of examination practices and other vices prevalent in schools and colleges in order to create a conducive atmosphere for learning. And of course, it will assist in youth development activities, empowerment and capacity building for youth creativity and innovations, among others. Part 2 deals with the composition and powers of the governing board. Part 3 has to do with the staff and membership of the Corps. Part 4, appointment, promotion, and disciplinary aspects. Part 5 are the admin structure and the zonal commands. Part 6 has to do with the financial provisions. Part 7, the legal status and proceedings. And 9, miscellaneous provisions, the schedule and supplementary provision. Distinguished colleagues, the passage of this bill on second reading will enable the Senate to consolidate the 2 bills on the establishment of the Nigerian Peace Corps. I so submit. Thank you.
Senator Betty Apiafi.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Betty Apiafi. I represent Rivers West Senatorial District. Mr. President, I'd like to thank Senator I.G. Diang for presenting this bill. And I want to, before seconding this motion, state that yesterday we had a similar bill that was discussed extensively here. That bill was sponsored by Senator Ndume, and the bill under consideration like that of yesterday talks about the importance of using the Nigerian Peace Corps to empower, develop, and provide alternative employment and facilitate peace in our communities and our nation. A lot was said yesterday, and the bill was referred to the Committee of Interior for further legislative input. Mr. President, therefore, ask that since the bill is a consolidation of that bill of yesterday, that our colleagues support this bill so that we can refer it to the same committee for further legislative input and for consolidation. I so second.
Senator Ndume.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Senator Ali Ndume, representing Borno South. Distinguished Senator Becky said it all, what I really wanted to. Yesterday, the Senate graciously passed the Peace Corps bill, which I sponsored during the 8th Senate. The distinguished Senator Stephanus was in the House then, I think, and so there we are on the same page. As she mentioned, since the first, my own bill that I sponsored yesterday has passed through second reading and committed to a committee. The 2 bills should be consolidated, and we have been talking with the sponsor of this bill. In addition to that, there are some observations that were raised on the floor of the Senate because of the importance of this bill. The Senate leader suggested some kind of moderation to take in or incorporate what is happening around the world, so that we will have a comprehensive bill that takes care of the needs of our teeming and unemployed youths out there. So I will appeal that we pass the bill for second reading for consolidation with the bill that we have sponsored, or any other bill that are related. Thank you.
Is there anybody against the bill? Those, yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Saidu Algali. I represent Gombe North. Mr. President, when you go through the order paper, the bill for an act to establish National Unity Corps, and the bill is saying the bill for an act to establish Nigerian Peace Corps. What? It's an amendment of the Peace Corps. But the one in the order paper is reading Unity Corps, Mr. President.
So those in favor of the bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Member of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Unity Corps to empower, develop, and provide alternative employment for the youth, to facilitate peace through mediation and conflict prevention, volunteerism, community service, and nation building, and for other related matters, 2020 SB 375, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the National Unity Corps to empower, develop, and provide alternative employment for the youth, to facilitate peace through mediation and conflict prevention, volunteerism, community services, and nation building, and for other related matters, 2020, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Interior to report back within 4 weeks. I think the issue of consolidation now, the chairman is not here, but we need to consolidate the two bills at the committee level. The public hearing, everything should take place at the same time, and then the report will give us a clearer idea going forward on what the outcome of this legislation should be. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth order of the day is the second reading of the University of Creative Arts and Technology, Olu, Imo State Establishment, etc. Bill 2020. The distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 22nd July 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Roches Anayo Okorocha to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Roches Okorocha.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Owoliana Roches Okorocha, Imo West. I present motion for a lead debate on the bill for the establishment of the University of Creative Arts and Technology, Olu, Imo State, 2020 SB 454. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate of this very important bill for the establishment of the University of Creative Arts and Technology, Olu, Imo State. The bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Wednesday, 22nd July 2020. As a specialized institution, the University for the Creative Arts would provide numerous opportunities in various chosen subject area of arts, architecture, communication, design, and media. It will also help in physical, social, cognitive, and emotional growth and development. The university will have a long history of nurturing unique communities of arts, designers, architects, writers, animation, filmmakers, illustrators, photographers, actors, creative business leaders, and more.
The objective for which the university is established, among others, are to encourage the advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without discrimination of race, creed, sex, or political conviction, to develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of certificates, first degrees, postgraduate research, diploma and higher degrees with emphasis on planning, developmental and adaptive skill in creative arts and other allied professional disciplines, to produce socially mature creative minds with capabilities not to only understand creative needs of Nigeria as a nation, but also to exploit existing business of creativity and improve on it to develop new ones, to act as agents and catalysts for effective creative system through postgraduate training, research, and innovation for effective economic utilization and conservation of the country's human resources. To collaborate with other national and international institutions involved in the training, research, and development of creativity with a view to promoting governance, leadership, and management skills among creative minds. To identify creative needs of the society with a view to finding solutions to them with the context of overall national development. And to undertake any other activities that is appropriate for University of Creative Arts and of the highest standard. The specialized University of Creative Arts and Technology commands potential economic benefits. With the current mantra of diversify the nation's economy from the hitherto oil-based economy, the creative industry offers a great potential as revenue earner. The antidote of the specialized University of Creative Arts and Technology in other clearly demonstrates that there is high hope that the university will revolutionize the creative arts sector. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the creative industry is currently employing many Nigerians and the number keeps growing to date. We know that all kinds of business are looking for talented, highly skilled graduates. That's exactly what the bill seeks to achieve when enacted into law. This bill, if passed, will produce a tight-knit and creative community that will add value to freedom of expression, experimentation, active collaboration across discipline and backgrounds, rigor in thinking and practices, and informed engagement with and shaping of the world around us. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the enactment of this bill will help in transforming the creative and educational fortunes in Nigeria by producing desired expertise in business of creativity that Nigeria is yearning for. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, in this line with Order 77, Subsection 3 of our standing rule, the financial compendium is hereby attached for your consideration. I urge you, my distinguished colleagues, to support the second reading of this all-important bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East. I stand to support and to second this bill as proposed by my able Excellency, and also to add that the University of Creative Arts and Technology is desirable for Nigeria, especially with the number of youths that constitute the majority in this country. We need to tap a lot of talents from them. And going through this university, they will be able to actualize their ambitions in becoming actors, advertisers, and also adding value to the creative arts that the world today have seen a lot of people, becoming billionaires just because of one artwork that has been displayed in the exhibitions. And also, just to take example of the Nollywood and Kennywood in Nigeria, at the time they are adding to the GDP of this country. So economically too, it's very important. And also you can see how our television system today, we've been battling to become a digital network. But with this university, I think getting to that position would not be so difficult. So I stand to support this bill, and I believe that most of my colleagues will do the same. Thank you.
Senator Smartadin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to support this bill. In supporting this bill, Mr. President, I want to say that the global trend in the development of university education today is specialized universities. Today in the first world, when you talk about establishment of a higher institution, you'll be talking about a specialized arm of education. I think particularly in our nation, where over the years we have been carrying the colonial imposed educational system on our nation, accumulating to a problem we all face today, where you have people who have gone through the 4 walls of the university, but they are not skilled. I think, Mr. President, this bill should be supported. Supporting this bill, Mr. President, will mean that we are laying the foundation for a new generation of university education in Nigeria. And I think more importantly, Mr. President, we will equally be coming to the realization that we must start thinking ahead and diversifying Nigeria economy. And of course, in doing that, you'll be talking about the workforce that will be required in a society, that a nation that will not be dependent totally on oil as it used to be. We have enjoyed the oil boom for about 40 years or so, or 45 years now. But I think the time has come for us to be thinking of an economy without oil for our nation. So what this bill is seeking, Mr. President, is to encourage the younger generation, whom to me are even more creative than the present generation. The generation after us, our children, they are more enterprising and they are more creative. So this university being proposed is a university that I think we should all support, because in doing so, we'll be laying a foundation of a new set of university graduates.
Thank you very much, distinguished. We have to round up now before 2 o'clock.
So, Mr. President, I wish we have this university not only
Thank you very much. Is there anybody against the bill? Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the University of Creative Arts and Technology, Olu, Imo State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2020, SB 454, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the University of Creative Arts and Technology, Olu, Imo State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2020, second reading taken. And the bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Distinguished colleagues, before the adjournment, leader, stand down the remaining items on the other thing.
Mr. President, I come under our order 13. Which type of order?
No, we are not extending time. We have a meeting. Leader, we have a meeting at 2:30. Yesterday we couldn't. So just stand down the other item. Minority Leader.
I second the motion that the Senate suspends all items on the order paper to tomorrow, 17th of December 2020.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that will stand down the consideration of the remaining items in the order paper till another legislative day, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move a motion for the adjournment of our sitting until tomorrow, Thursday, 17th December 2020 at 10 a.m. prompt.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I second the motion that the Senate adjourn to tomorrow, 17th of December for another legislative day.
Distinguished colleagues, before I put the question on adjournment, the leader, the one about asking what is the situation. You asking. Okay. Distinguished colleagues, I think the House is going to adopt what we have, so we don't need a conference committee. With this, let me put the question. Those in favor of the motion by the leader, seconded by the minority leader, that the Senate do adjourn till tomorrow, the 17th day of December, Thursday, 2020, at 10 a.m. from say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned till tomorrow, Thursday, the 17th day of December 2020 at 10 a.m. prompt.